WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
I can't believe I'm putting my voice to this.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
The first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say. I'm a broadcast journalist. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, son of a...
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary.
There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon here with you alongside the Philosopher Chris Ermer. And, oh, man, this is going to be a heck of a... I think Joey Styles definitely said it best.
Oh, boy, it's going to be one of those shows. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, there's no fun way to get around this. Yale Alpert in the house as well.
Fearon?
Lucas, yeah.
I do not know what a bigger loss is this week in the WWE. Patrick Clark on Tough Enough or Curtis Axel's gimmick?
Oh, yeah, that is one of the kind of casualties here. I mean, of course, for those who haven't caught wind of this, even though it happened, about 30 hours ago or so.
Yeah, and the biggest loss might be Hulk's legacy.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan, in case you missed it Thursday night into yesterday morning, Hulk Hogan's profile has been removed from WWE.com's alumni section and from the lists of Tough Enough judges. Hogan initially issuing a cryptic Twitter post reading, quote, "In the storm, I release control. God and his universe will sail me where he wants me to be. One love, HH," for Hulk Hogan. Now, later yesterday, WWE issuing a press release stating, quote, "WWE terminated its contract with Terry Bollea, a.k.a. Hulk Hogan. WWE is committed to embracing and celebrating individuals from all backgrounds as demonstrated by the diversity of our employees, performers, and fans worldwide." Yeah. This whole show is going to be very touchy, very walking on eggshells, walking a tightrope, making sure I don't say the wrong thing.
Yeah, not really touchy-feely.
No, definitely not touchy-feely, that's for sure. Although I will say that in some sense I do kind of have one advantage.
You know the best part about being half black and half white? When I grow up, I'll be accepted by everybody.
Is that how it works out, Steve?
Yeah, take it from me, it doesn't work out that way at all.
Wonder what episode that was from.
It was sometime in season 4, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Credit to Mike Samsel for that. I'm going to totally throw him under the bus so that way if any hate mail comes in, you know, right where it goes.
Directed all to Mike Samsel. Thank you.
Samsel did it.
Exactly. I could blame Lucas, but...
You're going to get me in trouble, and I didn't even do anything.
No, Lucas, conspicuous by his absence, he's down in, he's on his way to Paulsboro, New Jersey, getting ready for Monster Factory action. We'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later.
He did enough last week, that guy, man. He was on fire. He
is an energetic fireball. He always has been, and as far as I know, always will be. But getting back to this Hogan thing, yeah, he issued a statement to People.com regarding his separation from WWE, saying, quote, 8 years ago, I used offensive language during a conversation. It was unacceptable for me to have used that language. There is no excuse for it, and I apologize for having done it. This is not who I am. I believe very strongly that every person in the world is important and should not be treated differently based on race, gender, orientation, religious beliefs, or otherwise. I am disappointed with myself that I used language that is offensive and inconsistent with my own beliefs. So what's all this Hogan hullabaloo about? Well, the theory that was initially thrown out there was a radio clip that resurfaced from a Hogan appearance back in 2012 on Sirius XM radio, DJ Woo Kid's satellite radio show, Woollywood Shuffle. And, well, he was basically explaining how he used the term brother in his vernacular so much. And, you know, we've got that right here.
You've been saying brother for years. Any black guy ever say, yo, you my like you my Hulk.
Well, Booker T used to do that to me on TV.
Yeah.
You know, and every time I pull up YouTube, there's that famous thing that Booker T, when his brother was there, and they're all talking trash. And Booker T goes, "I'm coming for you, Hogan, you." And not he goes. I mean, it's like, and it's still so cool because the whole time I was down in Miami, you know, when I lived there, everybody, you know, like I walk in the booth and all of a sudden I bump into this guy in the games in the booth. It's all black and he's got his BlackBerry. And I bump into him and he goes, "What's up?" And I said, "Oh, dude, excuse me, bro." You know, he goes, "No, it's all cool." You know, and everybody down there, Lil Wayne, Birdman, everybody, you know, they're all, you know, calling me. And I'm like, and then I started saying it, you know, and I always said it, but now all of a sudden I get heat when I say it. And they say, "Hogan, you can't say that." I said, "Well, why can't they say it to me then?" It's like, you know, but brother was cool because, dude, you know, back in the day during my career, I used to party real hard. I couldn't remember anybody's name.
So the brother was brother was the easiest way to. That's like the neutrality word right there. Hey, brother.
Yeah, they
you know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah,
because I'm always like, hey.
No, they'd introduce me like to, you know, Dick Ebersol or somebody like that, or somebody that, you know, like Les Moonves that runs CBS, and within 10 seconds. Somebody walk in, I get ready to say, "Hey, brother, you know, this is so-and-so." And I was like, you know, I couldn't remember that. So that's where it came from.
I feel like this is an episode of The Chappelle Show because there's so much gratuitous use of the N-word. It's...
Well, you know,
I just hope I don't get canceled like it now.
You know, I don't even know why anybody uses that word. You know, I don't, whether in whatever context, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
should I be getting your music up for this?
No,
okay.
But I don't think you can be as exposed as Hulk Hogan has been to the public eye for so long, and not be and be phony or fake. And I think Hogan is kind of a good guy. I mean, you can't excuse what he said and the things that he said, and at the same time, like I don't know. There's something about it which I think you can shoot off your mouth, and like he apologized for it. He said he didn't mean it, and I kind of believe him. I mean, maybe I'm getting taken, and you know, maybe he's not the guy who he appears to be. But I just think it would be hard to be so out there for so many years and not and be like a crummy guy like underneath it all. I don't know. I guess there's probably 1,000 examples of people who really, when you look at, you know, underneath it all, they are kind of like creeps and stuff. But
you look kind of beyond the surface, that sort of deal.
But the Hulkster, man, I don't know. He, you know, I guess because he is kind of like a childhood hero, he is the face of professional wrestling, and that, you know, ends up, you know, distorting who you are and how people perceive you and stuff. And I realize it's not all saying your prayers and taking your vitamins and all that stuff, but you know, with being on a reality show and doing all the things that he's done and the different interactions that his kids have with different people, I don't think you can be full of hate. And, you know, I don't know. But obviously there's some Hogan hate, because you can't say I don't think some of the things that he said definitely, you know, are crossing a line.
Well, we didn't even get into the crux.
You should have played my music, though. I think
see, I told you I should have just gone on instinct. I know we can't go back. Maybe I can edit it in post production for the replay or something. I don't know. Well, it's a thought. And wow, apparently you got a lot of people going because the lines are just lit up here. So you want to go ahead and grab those while I.
Well, I will do that. But the one other thing that I would say about the whole thing, there's a lot of occasions now where your private life and your public, your business life interact in a way that seems like it's a dangerous precedent to set for like people who, you know, if. It like he said, it was a private conversation that he had, and
in the case that we're going to get into, because we didn't even we haven't even delved into that, but in a private conversation that was a part of, I don't know if it was a pre or post thing, but this whole tape thing going on with the lawsuit with Gawker and all that nonsense with Heather Clem, the now ex-wife of radio personality Bubba the Love Sponge, but. according to the transcript that has been sealed, or it's under seal of a Florida court, but somehow 5 independent sources provided quotes for the tape anyway. I guess, whatever you do for a buck, right? But according to the transcript, Hogan was talking about his daughter Brooke and her music career, and had some disparaging remarks about a quote black billionaire guy who had offered to fund Brooke's music career, alleging that Brooke might have been doing things with the billionaire's son, and making allusions, using the N-word in a derogatory fashion, basically suggesting that if she's going to get with an individual of darker skin, that he'd rather that she marry someone worth a lot of money, like a basketball player. And that's about as much as I'm going to be able to clean that up without getting into trouble. This is all according to the transcript, which I'm sure has leaked everywhere, so you can read the whole thing in all of its inappropriate for airing glory. We'll leave it at that. But because of those things, WWE just kind of wiping the slate clean, and all of the merchandise and everything else. The Hogan merchandise taken off of WWE shop. His likeness is pretty much off. He's even removed, at least for the moment, his likeness is removed from the Hall of Fame listings.
And maybe what this shows is that if you're exposed as much as he is, at some point in time, something is going to get leaked out there, and you will be found out. Or, what? Look, there's cameras everywhere. I don't know. It's a very difficult. It's a difficult situation when you're any kind of a personality, to say the least. And a lot of people, there's certainly been a lot of feedback that has come in over the course of the last, 30 hours or so, to say the least. But, some people, throwing some interesting memes in there. Ross from the Minnesota Wrecking Crew has a picture of Hulk Hogan pulling at his tearaway shirt, but instead of his usual yellow and red shirt, it's the Confederate flag.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, and of course there's going to be humor associated with this, and I like to have a lighthearted show, so I hate when super serious topics come up like this, because I have to toe that line of being funny but not being offensive, and it's a tightrope walk, to say the least.
It's touchy.
Yes.
Not touchy.
It's touchy, but not touchy-feely, yes. Dan from Chicago chiming in on the Facebook fan page, if Hulk came to the ring on Monday or any ring, he'd still get a standing ovation. And that, to a degree, could be true.
I think that's why Global Force should sign him. It's not going to be for a while. It's always going to be debated. But because of Jeff Jarrett and Hulk Hogan's relationship in WCW, I think it could work out. It's a theory. I don't think it's going to happen, but I strongly believe it could work out after a couple months or so.
I don't know. I can't even come up with a comparison of how I don't see it. There was a lot of bad blood with Jeff Jarrett and Hulk Hogan and Vince Russo from those WCW days. Does time heal all wounds? I suppose, but I think at this point, Hogan's just focusing on this lawsuit and damage control at this point, because there's certainly a lot to go around. Now, one issue that I have, and I know we're coming up on a break, and I know we've got we'll get to Ed on the other side of the break, because I know he's been hanging for a little bit.
Wait, let me guess. Your issue is that Hulk's daughter couldn't sing in the first place. So why waste $2 or $3 million on a career you knew wasn't going anywhere? No?
I see what you did there. No, although that is a very, very valid point. No, my issue is how quickly WWE is kind of putting themselves on a pedestal when it comes to diversity and equality and things of that nature, they're using a pole vault to get on their high horse, as from what I've seen. I mean, you look back at the numerous storylines and characters that have been, to put it at best, racially insensitive over the years. I mean, from Tony Atlas as the character Saba Simba, which was essentially a spear and shield wielding African, to pretty much any Far Eastern gimmick, whether it's the Orient Express or Kai and Tai. It's just very, I mean, wrestling is based on stereotypes, but there's been a lot of crossing of the line of that. Akeem, the African Dream. I don't even know where to get started with that. And even all the way up to Vince McMahon himself. This little backstage clip from the 2005 Survivor Series, interacting with John Cena.
What's up, boss? How you doing?
Yeah. What's good in the hood?
Just holding it down, trying to take care of business.
Keep it up.
Even Vince McMahon dropping the N-bomb and then walking by Booker T, a black wrestler, who then says,
"Tell me he didn't just say that."
So it was, I guess, meant to be comedy, but it backfired big time.
Well, you know, one thing that I always give the WWE, WWF credit for is that they figure out which way the wind is blowing as far as cultural trends and different things that they can touch on and pull stories out of. And I think they see the timing with this Hulk audio being particularly unfortunate because, you know, right now I don't think the country is in a place to be very forgiving about this issue. And so when this comes up, I think they're trying to distance themselves as much as possible, and they see that now is not the time. You know, if we can get up there on our pole vault, we better do it right now because, you know, it's an issue that people are sensitive about.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't want to be misconstrued. I'm not saying that Hogan shouldn't have been let go. He absolutely should have. I'm just condemning WWE a little bit for acting a little too pristine, as if they've never had any issues in the past, and that just couldn't be further from the truth for anybody who knows their history.
Right.
And even, I mean, to your degree, I mean, just me giving some of these descriptions, if I played some of the stuff, you'd go, how could they get away with that? Just even in the mere description. So, yeah, go ahead.
And part of, you know, what I always kind of give them some credit for always saying, you know, we're not going to be politically correct. And so they've always tried to push the envelope as much as possible, and political correctness is something which I think there's a group of wrestling fans that want you to push back against some of that stuff, and they want to see those provocative things when it comes to the storylines and all that stuff. But at this point in time, you know, the timing.
Oh yeah, the pendulum has swung in the other direction. No question. It's been in that direction for probably the last 5-6 years, maybe 7.
And even more, you know, I think some recent events, you know, the shooting in South Carolina, I think is, you know, something which also has, you know, moved the needle a little bit as far as the
no question
discussion and everything. So
I know the I don't even know if I can keep up with the feedback that's going on here. So I may have to. John from Northeast Philly, always good for a laugh. He, in reference to Vince McMahon, he says, nothing says diversity like, quote, get on your hands and knees like a dog. That's it, crawl around like a dog. Referring to when he had Trish Stratus stripped down to just her skivvies, as it were, in a, I guess, humiliating and slight attempt at eroticism, for lack of a better term. Doing some, or having female wrestler Trish Stratus perform some degrading acts in the middle of the ring in front of a wrestling audience.
50 Shades of Questionable.
Yes, that is spot on, Chris. Holy smokes, that is spot on. All right, I am so late for a break. Let me go ahead and take care of that. We still have some news and notes and all kinds of things to talk about. It's amazing how, the return of The Undertaker, seeing him for the first time since WrestleMania, and that gets put completely on the back burner. But on a complete side note, who would have thought here in July 2015 that our two biggest stories would be Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker?
It's like Throwback Saturday.
It is. We're partying like it's 1991 here.
Setback Saturday.
Setbacks, yes. Yeah, there have been a few things set back, to say the least. This is a Setback Saturday here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Lucas, conspicuous by his absence, he's getting ready to train to become a professional wrestler.
Wait. Hold on. That skinny...
He's been hitting the gym. He's adding a little bit of muscle. He's not the bag of bones that he was as the 15-year-old intern when he came in here. He's 17 and now, with parents' permission, is able to train at the Monster Factory. So this is a chance for him to get his feet wet.
I thought I saw him like just a few weeks ago. He didn't look transformed.
Well, no. He's not exactly going to be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness magazine anytime soon, but he's bigger than he was.
And now more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host Fearon Derry.
All right, he's training, he's taking the vitamins, he's saying the prayers, brother. He's doing the whole bit.
I hope so.
How appropriate on a day like this. I forgot about that at the tail end of that clip. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Lucas, the intern, conspicuous by his absence as he is at the Monster Factory. He's helping them out with a show that will be on tonight, a card. In fact, if I can find it in my notes here, you could go on down and be a part of it as well, as Pro Wrestling Action returns to the Monster Factory, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. That's right, tonight. Former WWF Tag Team Champion Headbanger Mosh will be in the house. Plus, Factory's finest explodes as Clutch Adams will face Mike Spanos, former tag team partners, squaring off, with the winner getting a title shot against Monster Factory heavyweight champion Matt Riddle later in the evening. Also, Shooters Inc., they'll be defending their tag titles. Little MV, Miranda Vianette, defends her Supersonic Championship, plus a whole bunch more. It all goes down tonight at the Monster Factory. The doors open at 6. The action starts at 7. Tickets just $15 for adults and $10 for kids aged 12 and under. Check out the Monster Factory on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as their website, monsterfactory.org. There we go. Got to get the important things of note in there. Things changing second by second around here. That's usually how it goes. Anyway, shame on me. Speaking of that, I went right into the plug and forgot to mention the Philosopher Chris Ermer in the house, as well as Yale Alpert back with us here, as we've been dissecting a lot of Hoganishness, for lack of a better term. I don't even know where to go with that. Now, man, when you talk about issues, of course you have Booker T and his, I mentioned him in the last clip, and of course he's been a subject of parody as he accidentally said a word that he shouldn't have in the middle of a promo during a live pay-per-view. And Chris Ermer is giving me the look, so of course to kind of clue him in, this is back when he was tag teaming with his brother Stevie Ray as part of the tag team Harlem Heat back in 1997 in WCW. This was the Spring Stampede pay-per-view.
Let me tell you something, Gene Oken. You out here talking about a clique. The only clique you need to know about is the Harlem Heat and Sister Sherry. See, because what you dealing with here is the brotherhood. It's non-stop from this point on in WCW. We take what we want, and after we take Lex Luger and the Giant, we want the gold sucker. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
Yeah, he dropped that right in the pay-per-view. Right in the middle of it.
Right to be Gene.
Well, it was right to Hulk Hogan. In a sense, I don't know. What can I say?
Unnecessary racism, so sad.
Thank you, Ling Ling.
Well, and there it was right in the middle of a promo. I mean,
yeah, not much you can do about that. All right, John from Northeast Philly chiming in again on Facebook. They basically purged Hogan from the history of the company, a company of people he made rich up there, brother. He made that company monster, and when it came all to pass, okay, you get the idea. But still, they can't remove someone from the history books when he was the history of the company. It's a difficult situation that was self-inflicted. And, yeah, I mean, they're giving him the Benoit treatment. That's kind of what it is. I mean, apparently dropping an M-bomb is right up there with a double murder-suicide.
Well, they're like scrubbing him from the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think I agree with John.
Okay, Lucas, either listening in from the car or at least following the conversation via the Facebook fan page, he chimes in saying, "No one is safe. It doesn't matter who you are. If you make them look bad, if you mess with their image, then they'll turn on you like a pack of wolves. It doesn't matter who you are or what you've done for the company. No one is safe."
I agree with Lucas on that one. Got to keep a good image to yourselves and your fans, being the worldwide leader in sports entertainment.
Unfortunately, man, I think that's like the corporate way of today, though. Like that's why I think some of this stuff is scary to me, because this is the land of the free, the U.S. of A., where you're allowed to have whatever opinions that you want to have, and you express them on a sex tape that you didn't think was going to get released or whatever. I mean, that's way different. Or I mean,
you're in a private moment, you don't know that it's being recorded.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, that's what the basis of the lawsuit is. Was he didn't know that there was a camera in the room while Hogan was doing his thing.
Yeah.
Playing needle in the haystack, as I like to call it.
And I think you'd be alone in that.
Yeah. Something I like to say about situations like this, though, there are a lot of things that should be not said, let alone publicized on any form of media. Because today it's all about the media. If you say something, like I could say, I spread butter on top of my bagel, and someone would find it offensive.
I don't know.
Something is irrelevant.
Yeah, because usually it's cream cheese that you go with.
I'm not a cream cheese guy, but still.
I don't know if I'd be offended by it, but I'm just providing a counter argument. That's what I do. I'm my own devil's advocate. Plus, it makes it more fun that way. I don't know. Samsel said it best.
When we're good, we're pretty okay, but when we're bad, we're great.
And that's pretty much what this show has been today.
We're having a great day.
Yes, we are having a great day, to say the least.
Happy 300.
Yeah. I mentioned it on Facebook. Yeah. Gosh, I can't believe it's been like over 6 years and change now, but this is the 300th episode that I've done here of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Wow. Yeah, I know. Crazy to think that it's gone that long.
I'm a celebrity now.
Yeah, I guess you are too, Lucas.
And like pro wrestling, it's the gift that keeps on giving. You can't write the stuff that you get to talk about here on Saturday afternoons.
No, and you never know what direction things are going to go in. And speaking of that, let's get to Ed, who's been hanging on for a while. Ed from Northeast Philly, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Good afternoon. Happy birthday.
Well, that's coming up in a couple of days. I definitely didn't want to make that a big deal, but thanks, Ed. I do appreciate it.
ACW in Stevens, PA, at the Fire Hall on August 22nd. Nick Gage versus John Dahmer, and the Fisto's going to be on the card too.
Okay, a little crossover of the of Ring of Honor, a little CZW. There's some talent, all kinds of talent being brought in for that show. Gotcha.
Yeah, Ring of Honor's in Baltimore tonight for the second show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they've certainly been getting around as well. Well, that weekend of August 22nd, that's going to be pretty busy, as that's also SummerSlam weekend. There's going to be a lot going on in the Northeast, to say the least.
And WWE tickets on sale next Saturday.
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
SmackDown at the Wells Fargo Center.
At the Wells Fargo Center. Okay. Yeah, there's certainly a lot going on in the local scene, to say the least.
And Tommy Dreamer's going to be hosting a viewing party for SummerSlam in the Northeast.
Oh, is that going to be at Nick's on Cottman Avenue? Nick's Roast Beef?
Yes.
Okay.
Along with Sabu.
Oh, Tommy Dreamer and Sabu. Okay, there you go. Get to watch the pay-per-view with a couple of guys who have participated in quite a few of them, to say the least, between ECW and WWE.
WWE is coming to Philadelphia.
Okay, what date's that on?
October 3rd.
Okay, so there's still time to get some more information on that as well. Always love the look at the local scene. Always appreciate the phone call. Yes, as always, Ed from Northeast Philly, giving us a nice live and local look. Dan from Chicago chiming in with probably one of the best things that I've heard all day. Let's talk Undertaker versus Brock. Yeah, let's get away from this Hogan stuff for a moment and all this tension. And I guess talk about a different tension. Undertaker making his return to Battleground this past Sunday, and we haven't seen him since WrestleMania. He's basically been a one and done, just wrestling once a year. He turned 50 a few months ago. I know that kind of hits you in the mental odometer a little bit, doesn't it?
You know, but he keeps on, like, even though it's once a year. I mean, his matches usually are like some of the biggest of the calendar year, and like get the most hype. And I don't know. I don't know. I think this one is exciting to me. Like, I think Brock Lesnar too that's a name that I like. I still like to see what's going to happen when he gets in the ring.
It's an attraction. You have two major attractions, and it looks like they're going to be squaring off at SummerSlam coming up on August 23rd. So we're 4 weeks away from that. I guess what I'm worried about is it's been a constant issue probably for the last 5 years or so that WWE, as opposed to creating new stars and creating a buzz about the new, they're constantly reminding viewers that as good as Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose or Dolph Ziggler is, they can't hold a candle to Triple H, The Rock, The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Steve Austin. That it's just a completely different level, and these current guys can't get anywhere close to it. You can only look back at the past, but so far, I mentioned the odometer. I mean, you've got a lot of guys that are entering 50 at this point. The Undertaker, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels just turned 50 a couple of days ago.
Whoever's healthy enough to step in a ring, even if they're 50 or 60. I mean, Ric Flair wrestled for the WWE. I forget how old he was when he had his retirement match versus Shawn Michaels. But
that would have been what, Mania 24, which would have been in 2009. I'm horrible. No, that would have been earlier than that. 2008. Yeah, because 2009 was 25. Okay, so 2008. I know, I'm great with math. Well, that's what happens when you get no sleep. So 2008, Flair would have been 59.
Exactly. If you're healthy enough to get back in the ring, WWE is going to call you up for Royal Rumble to make a surprise appearance in the Royal Rumble match, WWE WrestleMania to do whatever, and SummerSlam. Maybe even Survivor Series, because I've always viewed Survivor Series as the fourth blockbuster pay-per-view. No one realizes it, but Survivor Series is one of the most historical pay-per-views of all time.
It's one of the longest tenure, but I don't think it holds the gravitas that the others do. It's kind of the I don't know. I guess if you could compare it to the Three Stooges, it's kind of like Curly Joe. As opposed to Mo, Larry, and Curly. I mean, you look at the Royal Rumble, you look at WrestleMania, and you look at SummerSlam. Those are your Mo, Larry, and Curly. And I don't know, Survivor Series, I guess Shemp would be probably a better example, because it's been around for a really long time, and you recognize it, but it doesn't quite have the notoriety of the other three.
It deserves it. I think it deserves it a lot.
I think, and this is getting into a whole nother debate, but the inherent issue with Survivor Series, I always thought, was that the elimination tag matches tend to be isolated to that night and there's not much of a platform to further fuel a conflict, a feud, even though I know WWE doesn't want their announcers using the word feud, as we went over that Cliff Notes thing or Crib Notes or whatever from a couple weeks ago. Yeah, in the memo.
in the memo.
No, feud, it's a taboo word. You can't say it.
Fearon, it was in the memo.
But I didn't mean to get irrelevant on Survivor Series. I'm just obsessed with it because 3 of the biggest names of professional wrestling, Undertaker, Rock, Sting, they all made their first WWE appearance at a Survivor Series. And it holds so much history, and it's been around.
Plus the gobbledygooker.
Yeah. Are you ripping on Survivor Series now?
No, I'm saying the gobbledygooker is very notable. I mean, there's even an award after him.
Yeah, but I was saying, if you're still healthy enough to get in the ring at least once or twice a year, WWE is going to call you and say, we want you to go up against this person. And I feel like this feud between The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar fell perfectly in place. I mean, you'll have guys saying that, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar haven't been in a ring together for 470 days, and the breaking of the streak is irrelevant. But really, what has Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar been reiterating in every televised appearance since
and
WrestleMania 30?
And a few not-so-televised appearances. Well, at least in the case of Heyman, because he'll make appearances and whatnot. John from Northeast Philly chiming in. He mentions that Survivor Series also has the screw job.
Exactly.
Montreal, yeah. So there is that historical aspect from November 9th, 1997.
But again, I'm done with touchy subjects after talking about Hulk Hogan for a half hour.
There you go. That's not a bad thing. So here's something I'll talk about because, gosh, it's amazing how quickly we have to go to breaks and whatnot. Got to tell you about my favorite beer spot, the Broken Goblet Brewery over at 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol. Broken Goblet Brewing, breaking your perspective on how you experience craft beer because broken can be beautiful. Head on over to the Goblet tonight for a combo day featuring Quizzo with Kurt at 7 and Broken Karaoke tonight at 9 o'clock. Plus, tomorrow is another Big Beer Sunday with Thorin on tap. It's the Goblet's 11.1% Imperial IPA aged on white oak.
So, Fearon, if I could, you mentioned how, recently they had goblet stock.
Yes.
Well, maybe they could have gobbledygook at
the gobbledygooker?
Gobbledygooker. All right, could take that to them.
They've been trying to come up with some wrestling. Initially, they wanted to go with a Jim Ross's "Oh My Goblet." Okay, that's something that Mike, one of the owners, has been trying to get over.
You could suggest the gobbledygook.
The gobbledygooker. It could be a Thanksgiving. It could be a special Thanksgiving beer or something, like a porter maybe.
That's right.
I don't know. I'll check with him and Justin, one of the brewers over there.
They're sure to hate that idea, but take it to them anyway.
It's tonight's Quizzo, another kinky Quizzo?
No. This is standard Quizzo with Kurt. They are going to bring it back, and I don't know if I should be ashamed to admit that I did participate in the quiz, and I didn't do so well. So I guess I guess I have a clean mind, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, I don't know.
You wouldn't think it from this show, but.
If you win,
I'm sure Lucas somewhere. I'm surprised. Well, if he did drive, he probably would have run off the road listening to that. He's working on it. He's got the permit. He's getting there.
Soon enough.
Yeah,
Soon
exactly.
Enough.
Oh goodness. Anyway, check.
Back to
the goblet. I know I'm throwing off my game here. You'd have thought I had some of the Thorin at this point. Open Thursdays through Sundays for the summer. It's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Check them out on the web at brokengoblet.com. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. All right, we'll be back. We've still got a little bit of news and notes to get into. I know we've monopolized with all the Hogan stuff and whatnot, but some Impact Wrestling news to get into, and rather notable update from our friends over at George's Cards and Collectibles about a big event they've got coming up. Got a couple of names to toss out for that. Plus, even though he's not here, birthdays. We got that coming up as well. Guess I'll have to get the drop for that. We'll figure it all out. We'll try to make it work. That's what we do. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, July 25. On this date in 1999, the WWF held its fully loaded pay-per-view. In the main event, Steve Austin defeated The Undertaker in a first blood match to retain the World Wrestling Federation Championship. On this date in 2005, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Cleveland, Ohio. In the main event, Carlito pinned John Cena. On this date in 2011, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Hampton, Virginia. In the main event, John Cena pinned Rey Mysterio to win the WWE Championship. This has been Today in Wrestling History, July 25.
This is Jim the Anvil Neidhart of the Hart Foundation, and you're listening to Pro Wrestling Weekly with Fearon Derry on 1490 WBCB, baby. Yeah!
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you alongside the Philosopher Chris Ermer and Yale Alpert. I did get your mic up. You were just, okay. I wasn't sure for a second.
We are with you.
Okay. I don't even know if I'm with me at this point. This is that point where I'm looking for that second wind. I'm looking, I guess I can't say I'm looking to Hulk up because that's, I know. Inappropriate time for it, I suppose.
That has been scrubbed from the...
Yeah, it's been scrubbed from the bed. Yeah, didn't Diesel used to have something like that, too, where he'd kind of rev up the engines when he had his second wind?
We can keep it alive here, though. We can still take our vitamins and say our prayers, but maybe we
believe
should
in
add
ourselves.
Be nice to others. How about that? Throw that in, Hulkster.
Be nice to others.
Our
wow.
programming isn't owned by WWE. Let's talk about Hogan and Benoit all we want.
Well, it's been fun. It's been a fun run of 300 episodes, 16 and a half years. This will be the last episode of
Which was more offensive, being nice to others or talking about inappropriate subjects? I'm not sure which gets you in trouble worse. Seems like with WWE, you better not be too nice to other people. You gotta... Well, there's a lot of nice guys, I guess, out there, but you can't show it on the surface sometimes.
This is very accurate. Oh, goodness. All right, let me get into some news and notes here.
It's like radio, man. It's cutthroat, Yale. Don't forget that, youngster.
Oh, I know that. I'll have to tell you some stories after the show goes off the air.
Yeah, please don't tell. Let's not have those stories on the air.
Yeah, let's tell some radio stories now.
No.
That's a good idea.
Where's my other drop? Oh, son of a bleep, bleep.
You know what drop you need? Calgon, Take Me Away. Remember that commercial from back in like the late 70s, early 80s with like the woman, she was in a bubble bath? She was like, it might be before your time.
Well, considering
She said, Calgon, take me away. And she'd be in the midst of all her children were yelling and her house was messy and her husband wanted dinner. She just wanted the bubble bath.
Yeah, that pretty much paints a picture of sometime in the 1970s, doesn't it?
Calgon, take me away.
Oh, goodness. Well, one place you might want to get away to is Charlotte, North Carolina in early October, and that's if you want to see Bound for Glory. TNA Impact Wrestling announcing on Wednesday that its biggest event of the year, Bound for Glory, will air live on Sunday, October 4th from the Cabarrus Arena in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's an 8 p.m. Eastern Bell Time and exclusively on pay-per-view. Figure the Carolinas are a wrestling hotbed. I mean, the Hardys now, obviously, it was Flair country back in the day.
The Queen City.
You can't go anywhere without hearing a woo somewhere around there. And some less fortunate Impact news, some talent contract changes. According to Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com, TNA has reached out to a number of their roster members to inform them that their monthly guarantees are being dropped. The company is offering per appearance deals instead. The story notes that TNA is giving, quote, a little more per appearance. Translation, instead of paying the wrestlers a monthly rate and a bonus fee every time they make an appearance, TNA will only pay the wrestlers that they book for events, which unfortunately have been few and far between. Cost-cutting measures.
It's not easy to make it out there. You talked about how, a lot of those guys are a little bit older now, 50 years older and stuff. And, I mean, man, you have to almost be on the circuit for 20-plus years to make a name for yourself in order to get to the status that those guys reach. I mean, it's such a grind. Then you reach that plateau, but you have to be out there kind of sucking up a lot of kind of crummy, I think, whatever they throw at you, you got to take it because, like, if you don't have jobs, then you ain't got money coming in.
I almost was ready to hit your music again.
Oh yeah.
I should have. I need to just go on instinct. I don't know why I'm not. Not missing a beat. John from Northeast Philly. He has the clip from Family Guy, a Quagmire spoofing the 70s Calgon shampoo commercial.
Nice.
So that is on the WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly Facebook fan page.
Oh, you got to check that out.
Yeah, I have it here, but obviously you don't have the sound because we don't have the sound here in the studio, and that would kind of be a bit distracting to be playing the Family Guy clip. So yeah, go on to it. You know where it is, the WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly Facebook fan page. If you haven't liked it or joined up, why not? Get on it. What's the matter with you? No, yeah, because all kinds of funny, weird, and wild stuff tends to get put on there. Plus, for better or worse, you get to see my ugly mug back when I had an afro and the slightly uglier mug of Lucas the intern.
Back in the Morpheus
That is
days.
not fair.
I know. I've got to slag on him because he's not here. I'm sure I'll go down to the factory tonight and he'll punch me or something. And I'll probably have to sell it because that's what we do. Anyway, George's Cards and Collectibles. They continue to bring you the legends. Just announced a couple weeks ago their next wrestler signing on Saturday, August 22nd at George's in the Neshaminy Mall. Former WWE Tag Team Champion, European Champion, United States Champion, Hardcore Champion, Intercontinental Champion, and WWE Heavyweight Champion, JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. As if that wasn't big enough, Sinomania returns to Bucks County Technical High School on Saturday, September 26th. Chris, you got to check that out firsthand last year, and
it's a great event. And in part, it's I think I don't know. I don't go to a whole lot of signing events, but the Bucks County Technical High School, it's a facility that is large enough, and there's enough.
Oh, it handles it very well.
Yeah, different things going on. They can handle the talent and the fans, and I think they really put on a good show out there.
They do, and that'll be on Saturday, September 26th is when it comes back. And the first guest wrestlers were announced this week. George's is getting the band back together as Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Sean X-Pac Waltman will be at Sinomania on September 26th. Stay tuned here to Pro Wrestling Weekly as updates come in on which wrestlers will be appearing at Sinomania 9. And check out George's 3 locations for all of your sports and wrestling memorabilia needs, including their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Fairless Hills, on the lower level of the Oxford Valley Mall next to the Sears Court, and in the Neshaminy Mall at the AMC Theater Wing. For more info on the upcoming signings, collectibles, Sinomania, and a bunch more, give George's a call at 215-943-2475 or go to georgescollectibles.com. 12:58 and change. That means we have just enough time for
birthdays. Yay!
Thank you, Twitch. All right, on this date in 1974, Kenzo Suzuki was born. The former one-time WWE Tag Team Champion turns 41 today. I'm sure a lot of you are going, who's that? He and Rene Dupree won the tag titles in September 2004, beating Billy Kidman and Paul London on SmackDown. And they held the belts for 13 weeks before losing them also on SmackDown to Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio. With their hysterical finisher, which was the only way that they could get Rob Van Dam's personal use reference in, their finisher was called 420 because it was a double leg drop. It was 4 legs because, 2 legs for Mysterio and 2 legs for Van Dam, and their combined shoe sizes was 20. Van Dam a size 12 and Mysterio a size 8.
That move is now legal in Colorado.
And a couple of other places, apparently. Also, on this date in 1981, Fergal Devitt was born, the Irish professional wrestler, well-known worldwide previously as Prince Devitt, and also the current NXT champion known as Finn Balor, turns 34 today. So he's just Balor.
Got to get it right. It has that little accent over the A.
You know what? I didn't put the accent in my notes, so I didn't get Balor.
It's hard to on Microsoft Word. It's very complicated.
Yes, I don't quite have the Irish in me at this point. Yeah, there's a joke there that I'm not going to go to. Instead, shoot, I guess it's that time, isn't it? Man, the time just flies by. All right, we'll be back next week with more hilarity, and we'll probably talk about what happened at the factory, what will have happened at the factory since that's going on tonight. Lucas should be back in the house. Yale, thank you for joining us. The Philosopher, great to have you on as always.
Yep, good to be
here.
Thanks, Ron.
You've got country music coming up next?
Yeah, going up to Little Phillies baseball as the Phillies are in Chicago. So 3:30 we'll start Phillies on deck.
Somehow I doubt CM Punk's going to be around for that one. All right, that's going to do it. Play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock in all's well.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WBCB 11.